Is Wellington that big of a dog? All right, so let's see what man says. It's from Tony the Tiger. Hey, Josh, many years ago you talked about Wellington as being a solid place to park your cash for the long haul. I invested $200,000 in my Roth IRA about 5 years ago. Have not really looked at it since. Now today I look and it's gained only 7.2%. Whereas 7.2% over that 5 years. That's what my Antonio the Tiger says. I know it's got 30% bonds, but wow. And then he quotes me this thing from Google. And I'm like, this thing from Google, I'm looking at it, said, it just shows this 1 month. I don't know. So I'm not sure I don't get it. I'm confused. But anyway, let's keep going. So, okay. During the same period, the Dow is up 79% over the same period. I am reinvesting dividends, but the balance over the 5 years has barely moved. Not blaming you for recommending it. Well, I didn't recommend it to you there, guy. So but am I missing something, or is it just really unlucky for the period? Do you still like Wellington? Just hard to stomach this poor performance in my Roth that I hope would grow over time. And I said, I don't know where you're getting numbers from. I had no clue. I probably shouldn't have been bothered because obviously, first of all, anytime you're using the Dow as your proxy, we never use the Dow. We use the S&P 500. But in this case, we're going to compare Wellington to VTI over 5 years. All right, and I literally have no clue where this guy's getting his numbers from. I'm like, because I was stunned. I said 7.2%. I said the large value stocks done that poorly, and so first thing I did, I said, because I know the bonds got smoked in 2022, but it's only got 30% bonds, and they've come back okay. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. I said, has the large value stocks done that poorly? I said, I don't think so. But anyway, so let's take a look here. I got a chuckle. I don't pay much mind to the stock market or the bond market. I mean, I look at it on a daily basis. I literally have no clue what my portfolio is doing. I just don't know. I don't care because I expect it to go on a regular basis up over time. But hey, man, I don't know. And I buy the index. I have a couple individual stocks. But the reason I like Wellington is because it's heavily value oriented. Value stocks, higher dividends, lower price to book, lower PE ratios, the whole thing. And so the value stocks in Wellington, if Wellington's only done 7.2% over 5 years, as my man said, that means value stocks have well underperformed. I said, I don't think that's true. But again, I don't really pay that much attention to it. So I said, let's go look. I said, okay, here's Vanguard VTV, large values index fund from Vanguard. Let's see what it's done over 5 years. We'll come down here. Let's say 5 years. It's averaged 13.85% a year. So I was like, all right. So we know VTV has done quite well. All right. So that's over 5 years. Over 3 years, it's 8.47. Over 1 year, 8.89. So I said, okay, maybe that's done great. Maybe the BND, we'll just use BND as our bond proxy. Maybe that just got smoked over 5 years. I really don't think it has, but let's just look. Again, I don't really pay much mind to this, but we'll look at what BND has done. Because again, Wellington's got roughly 30 to 35% in bonds, 65 to 70% in value stocks. And so, okay, we're going to cut BND. Just got some text from my brother and sister. Talk about seeing my mom. And we'll look over 5 years what BND has done, and BND is down 0.68%. All right, so that's no big deal. So if we take and I'm not going to do it here, but we take 0.7 for Wellington, we'll just use that for a large cap value, times, for simplicity, 0.13, and then we take 0.3 times basically nothing. We'll even do times 0.99. I don't want to do this right here, but generally that's how you figure out. 70% was allocated to large value. Large values averaged 13% a year for 5 years. 30% was allocated to bonds. Bonds has averaged negative 1% a year roughly. So you figure that, you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. We know for a fact that has returned well more than 7.2% total. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. But then I said, let's just look at the horse's mouth. So I said, let's just see what Wellington itself has done over 5 years. I literally don't have any idea what this guy's talking about. And we're going to go to Wellington, investor shares. And I was like, this is why I can never manage money, because I can't stand these kind of emails. I hate it because people just don't know what they're talking about. So Wellington, I said, let's take a look at Wellington. Wellington's averaged 9.37 over 5, 8.06 over 3. So I literally have no idea I literally have no clue what this guy's talking about. So then I went to Portfolio Visual, not the better version of Portfolio Visualizer, which is valueinvesting.io. I compared Wellington right here to VTI, which is the total stock index, and Wellington's the first one. Put $10,000 in, $10,000 at the end of 2000, starting 5 years ago in 2020, is worth 14,828. Our compounded annual growth rate in this is 7.67. So the only thing I could possibly think is he thinks that's the total return for 5 years. I have no clue what else this guy could be thinking. VTI has done much better, 11.69. Well, shocking because VTI doesn't have the bonds as a drag. So I'm sitting there just, what the hell, man? I don't understand. So let's put this to, let's say 2022, when things started going south. We had that bad year in 2022, and we'll see what it looks like then. We'll hit this guy here, backtest portfolios. And God bless you, valueinvesting.io. You're a welcome tool to relative to Portfolio Visualizer being sold out to friggin' people just ruined it, man. Kind of like Advisor Perspectives. Advisor Perspectives got sold out. It just sucks now. You can't even comment. Horrible. I hardly ever read them. It's embarrassing. Anyway, so here's 2022. When the markets did horribly in 2022, even here, both Wellington's averaged 3.44% a year since 2022. VTI has averaged 5.25. So even here, $10,000 investing in Wellington in 2022 is still worth $11,191. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. He must either get his numbers wrong, his year. I literally have no idea. But this is exactly why I can't manage money, because I can't stand when people don't know what they're talking about and they throw an email at you. And I tell you, when I used to work in the brokerage firm, getting an email like that'd get you compliance on you. They'd be like, "Oh, you recommended this guy's complaining?" You're like, "Dude, I tell you, dude, that would be nice," because that's. I used to get, man, people would just fire these emails. I don't know if they're drunk. I don't know what was going on, but they'd fire off these emails without any thought at all, not realizing that there's a compliance situation in the investment world. Anything that's negative that comes in your email box, it literally could have nothing to do with you. They're going to look at it. And it's if you get too many of those things, they're going to be looking out the door, man, because they'll say, "Hey, why aren't you managing these people's expectations?" You're like, "Dude, this is why I could never manage money again, because I can't take that." I'm like, dude, because those kind of emails, having been in that business since 1998 and dealing with people just blindly sending off emails, never send an email like that to any of your advisors. If you have advisors, for the love of the good Lord, don't ever send an email that says, "I'm disappointed, you recommended, this fund isn't doing well." You never say it like that. You say an email, "I'd like to discuss my portfolio with you," or something like that. Unless you really want to, basically stab a guy in the back. If you want to stab a guy in the back, use an email like that. But if you're trying to work with your guy and you're kind of disappointed, you never say that word in your email. You never say, "I'm disappointed. I'm seeking alternative." I don't know. You can say that, I suppose, but you never negative words like that, because really compliance is going to be on these guys, and some of these guys' bonuses are at stake here, or even their jobs, when you just blindly fire off an email like that. It shouldn't be like that. I 100% recognize you'd think compliance would have more to do, but they don't, man. They're friggin' numbers crunchers, and they just say, "Oh, bad word, let's talk to this guy." And if you get talked to enough, even if it's just because it had nothing to do with you, it doesn't matter. You could literally lose your job. All right. God, but I don't know what this guy's talking about, but do I still like Wellington? Of course. Actually, let's compare Wellington to Fidelity Balance while I'm just going on my rant here. Fidelity Balance is the Fidelity version of Wellington, FBALX. I haven't looked at this for a long time either. So that's, oh, there we go. Okay, sweet. All right, good. All right, we're going to compare those. I'm going to say for 3 years. Let's see what Fidelity Balance, because Fidelity Balance is 70-30. Let's see. Fidelity Balanced, the third. Yeah, so Wellington has done just a little bit shy of Fidelity Balance. So Fidelity Balance, 10,000 invested is 11,234. Wellington, 10,000 invested, 11,191. VTI is 11,859. So even with 2022, both are still in the black. I wouldn't say they've done great, but they've still averaged 3.44% a year, which includes the worst year right here that you can see in 2022. So, yeah. God bless. Love your thoughts. We'll see you